Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Konita Irfayani from TBAGP, student number 025. Here I will explain about chunking and then the advantages and disadvantages are chunking. Okay, chunking refers to a strategy for making more efficient use of short-term memory by breaking down large amounts of information into smaller chunks. Cass and Simon, 1973, suggested that the capacity of short-term working memory is limited to 7 items or chunks, hence the formula 7 plus or minus 2. Nah, jadi chunking merujuk pada strategi untuk membuat atau untuk mengefisiensi penggunaan short-term memory dengan memecah jumlah informasi yang besar menjadi potongan-potongan informasi kecil. Itu kemudian Chess and Simon menyarankan kapasitas dari short-term memory sendiri itu limit atau sedikit, hanya sampai 7 item saja. Nah, 7 item di sini rumusnya itu 7 plus minus 2. 7 plus minus 2 itu artinya bisa 5, bisa 9 karena 7 min 2 dan 7 plus 2 gitu. On the other hand, chunking can mean both the breaking down of large amounts of information as well as grouping small chunks into large categories. It doesn't necessarily mean that our mind can process only 7 words at a time. A chunk can represent 7 sentences, 7 phrases, or 7 lines. Probably the most common example of chunking occur in phone number. SWEV et al. 2003 demonstrate this using the example of a phone number. Even though the phone number 2,354,827 consists of 7 items, it is much easier to remember if we further divide it into 2, 3, 5, 4, 8, 2, 7, rather than trying to remember it as 2, 3, 5, 4, 8, 2, 7. Nah, jadi kemungkinan terbanyak contoh dari chunking itu muncul pada nomor telepon atau nomor HP. SWEV et al. Itu mendemonstrasikan penggunaan dari phone number atau nomor HP sendiri. Walaupun hanya terdiri dari 7 item, itu lebih baik dibagi itu atau dibacanya itu ya dibagi menjadi 2 bagian, nggak dibaca per item. Itu akan lebih mudah diingat juga. Okay, next is the advantage and disadvantage of chunking. The main advantage of chunking is reducing processing time. Instead of having to give close attention to each part, the chunk is seen as a unit which presents a saving in time needed to recognize or produce the item. Nah, jadi kelebihan utama dari chunking itu adalah mengurangi pemrosesan waktu. Then, the main disadvantage of chunking is storage. There are many more chunks than there are components of chunks, and if chunks are also stored in long-term memory, then there will be a lot of items. There might also be difficulty in finding an item. Nah, jadi kelemahan utama dari chunking itu adalah penyimpanannya, karena saking ada banyaknya chunks itu akan membuat memori kita itu penuh dan kita jadi lumayan susah untuk mencarinya ketika dibutuhkan. Okay, that's all for me. Thanks for your attention. Next will be continued by my friend Yunika. Thank you.
My name is Yunika Maulida, my student number 026. In here, I will explain about encouraging chunking. Chunking can develop from no parts. It can also occur from the memorization of analyzed chunks. There are two major approaches to help learners chunk no components. The most important is to help them develop the skill and the knowledge that make it more efficient for them to chunk language items in larger units. It is likely that this fluency development is to some degree skill specific so that learners would need to have fluency practice in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Ellis and Laporte in Paris note that certainly for beginners, there are strong benefits for vocabulary acquisition, including praise and collocation, in having to produce language. The fluency strength of a course is an essential component in the development of chunking. We will briefly overview activities for the development of fluency in each of the four skills shortly. The second major approach to help learners chunk is through deliberate language-focused attention. This attention can involve practice in chunking text containing familiar items and the deliberate teaching and learning of collocates of known items. This can include the use of concordance, matching activities, and the development of collocation tables. The memorization of analyzed chunks is an important learning strategy, especially for a learner who wants to quickly gain a degree of fluency in limited areas. It has other learning benefits as well, particularly in that it quickly provides a fund of familiar items that can be later analyzed to help support the development of rules. Okay, that's all from me. Next point will be delivered by my friend. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri Aulia Rahma. My student number 034. Okay, I will explain material point 4 and 5. First, chunking through fluency development. Such myth present a comprehensive survey of a wide range of theories which can be used to explain fluency development. The most acceptable theory that describes the development of chunking through fluency development is McLuhan's restructuring theory. McLuhan argues that the restructuring of language knowledge, which for our process we will see as chunking, occurs when learners reach a high degree of automatism through practice. When examining activities to see if they are likely to help the development of fluency, a teacher should look for the following features. First, the activity should influence only known vocabulary and grammatical features, and preferably should involve familiar content knowledge. Secondly, the activities should be meaning-focused. Third, there should be some encouragement to do the activity at a speed that is faster than the learner's normal speed. Fourth, the activity should involve a large quantity of language processing. The 4, 3, and 2 technique was defined by Morris. In this technique, learners work in pairs, with one acting as the speaker and the others as listener. Secondly, chunking through language focus attention. There is a range of ways of deliberately drawing attention to chunks. Dictation, where learners have to hold spoken or written chunks in their working memory before they reproduce them in spoken or written form. Dictation involves listening to a chunk the text and having to write the text chunk by chunk. Michael West. David the read and look up technique as a way of helping learners to learn from written dialogue and to help them put expression into the dialogue. It uses reading input and spoken output. West regarded the physical aspect of read and look up as being very important for using the technique properly. Delayed copying involves copying from a text that is reading input and output and then writing output. An essential feature of the technique is that the learners try to hold as large phrases as possible in their memory before writing it. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, next is memorizing unanalyzed chunks. A very useful strategy, particularly in the early stage of language learning, is to memorize useful unanalyzed chunks. This strategy can be applied to both regularly formed and irregularly formed chunks. The regularly formed chunks may eventually be analyzed and form the basis for learning grammatical patterns. Chunks can be most effectively memorized by applying the same learning guidelines as for isolated words. These are: number 1. Write each chunk on a small card with its translation on the other side so that there has to be active retrieval of its form or meaning. And number 2 is repeat the chunk aloud while memorizing it. Number 3, space the repetition so that there is an increasingly greater interval between learning sessions. And then next is use mnemonic tricks like the keyword technique, putting the chunk in the sentence, visualizing the example of the meaning of the chunk, and analyzing the parts of the chunk. The quality of this increases the quality of the mental processing and helps learning. Don't learn chunks with similar words or meaning together. They will interfere with each other. And the last one is keep changing the order of the cards to avoid serial learning. So, teachers need to develop an awareness of the difficulties that lie behind some collocation and the kinds of patterns that exist. This will enrich their teaching and allow them to focus their efforts. Thank you.